God Sees the Truth But Waits by Leo Tolstoy, Part 1. In the town of Vladimir lived a young merchant named Ivan Dmitritch Aksaniov. He had two shops and a house of his own. Aksaniov was a handsome, fair-haired, curly-headed fellow, full of fun and very fond of singing. When quite a young man, he had been given to drink, and was riotous when he had too much. But after he married, he gave up drinking, except now and then. One summer he was going to the Nizhny fair, and as he bade goodbye to his family, his wife said to him, "Ivan Dmitritch, do not start today. I have had a bad dream about you." He laughed and said, "You are afraid that when I get to the fair I shall go on a spree." His wife replied, "I do not know what I am afraid of. All I know is that I had a bad dream. I dreamt you returned from the town, and when you took off your cap, I saw that your hair was quite gray." He laughed. "That's a lucky sign," said he. "See if I don't sell out all my goods and bring you some presents from the fair." So he said goodbye to his family and drove away. When he had traveled halfway, he met a merchant whom he knew, and they put up at the same inn for the night. They had some tea together and then went to bed in adjoining rooms. It was not his habit to sleep late, and wishing to travel while it was still cool, he aroused his driver before dawn and told him to put in the horses. Then he made his way across to the landlord of the inn, who lived in a cottage at the back, paid his bill, and continued his journey. When he had gone about 25 miles, he stopped for the horses to be fed. He rested a while in the passage of the inn, then he stepped out onto the porch and ordered a samovar to be heated, got out his guitar, and began to play. Suddenly a troika drove up with tinkling bells, and an official alighted, followed by two soldiers. He came to Aksaniov and began to question him, asking him who he was and whence he came. He answered him fully, and said, "Won't you have some tea with me?" But the official went on cross-questioning him and asking him, "Where did you spend last night? Were you alone or with a fellow merchant? Did you see the other merchant this morning? Why did you leave the inn before dawn?" Aksaniov wondered why he was asked all these questions, but he described all that had happened and then added, "Why do you cross-question me, as if I were a thief or a robber? I am traveling on business of my own, and there is no need to question me." Then the official, calling the soldiers, said, "I am the police officer of this district, and I question you because the merchant with whom you spent last night has been found with his throat cut. We must search your things." They entered the house. The soldiers and the police officer unstrapped Aksaniov's luggage and searched it. Suddenly the officer drew a knife out of a bag, crying, "Whose knife is this?" Aksaniov looked, and seeing a blood-stained knife taken from his bag, was frightened. "How is there blood on this knife?" He tried to answer, but could hardly utter a word, and only stammered, "I don't know. It's not mine." Then the police officer said, "This morning the merchant was found in bed with his throat cut. You were the only person who could have done it. The house was locked from inside. No one else was there. Here is this blood-stained knife in your bag, and your face and manner betray you. Tell me how you killed him and how much money you stole." He swore he had not done it, that he had not seen the merchant after they had tea together, that he had no money except 8,000 rubles of his own, and that the knife was not his. But his voice was broken, his face pale, and he trembled with fear as though he were guilty. The police officer ordered the soldiers to bind him and to put him in the cart. As they tied his feet together and flung him into the cart, he crossed himself and wept. His money and goods were taken from him, and he was sent to the nearest town and imprisoned there. Inquiries as to his character were made in Vladimir. The merchants and other inhabitants of that town said that in former days he used to drink and waste his time, but that he was a good man. Then the trial came. He was charged with murdering a merchant from Ryazan and robbing him of 20,000 rubles. His wife was in despair and did not know what to believe. Her children were all quite small. One was a baby at her breast. Taking them all with her, she went to the town where her husband was in jail. At first, she was not allowed to see him, but after much begging, she obtained permission from the officials and was taken to him. When she saw her husband in prison dress and in chains,